Welcome to Your Radiant Spirit, a space for the conversations and colors that help you see yourself more clearly. I'm Heather Eck, an intuitive artist and guide, and I believe your soul speaks in the ways the mind can't always put into words, through color, energy, and the stories your body holds. This show is where we explore those messages. Through personal stories, deep conversations, and creative insight, we'll uncover what's been hidden, release what no longer serves, and begin to imagine what's possible when you live in full alignment with who you're meant to be. What you hear here is more than inspiration, it's an opening, a chance to feel the shift that could change everything. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's step into today's conversation. As you're listening to Becca's story, her insights, her journey, I want you to remember this. You have a story too, and it matters. A lot of the work that we talk about on this podcast and in these episodes comes down to this question. Where are you stuck and what's trying to move through you? And that's where color comes in. Color shows us the patterns, beliefs, and emotional loops that words can't always reach. So if you've been feeling stuck, foggy, or like something is quietly asking for your attention, open your phone right now and DM me the word color on Instagram at Heather Eck Artist, and I'll send you details about a laser color reading and how it can bring clarity to exactly what's going on for you. All right, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to Your Radiant Spirit. I'm so excited to introduce you today to Becca Shaw of Ember Healing. Becca is your inspiring and dedicated guide in the realm of spirituality. She's skilled and passionate holistic healer, Akashic Records Coach, Divination Reader, and teacher with extensive experience in various healing and divination modalities. Her practice combines experience, wisdom, and compassion to create a unique approach that resonates deeply with her clients. Whether through her intuitive crafts or her calming presence, Becca empowers individuals to unlock their true potential and embrace personal growth. With a profound understanding of energy work and intuitive practices, she provides a safe, supportive, and uplifting space for healing journeys. Clients appreciate her professional yet approachable demeanor, finding it easy to connect with her as she guides them towards self-discovery and transformation. Born in England, a land where the veil between the worlds is said to be thin, Becca's connection to energies and spirituality began early in life, and now based in Canada, she has dedicated herself to helping others master their own transformations. Through her guidance, Becca inspires individuals to tap into their own inner strength and navigate their unique paths with confidence. Her mission is clear: to empower people to become the architects of their own lives by embracing their spiritual journeys wholeheartedly. With Becca as your guide, you'll find the tools and support needed to transform challenges into opportunities for growth and fulfillment. And I'm so happy to have you. Welcome to the show, Becca. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to meet you. So you were born in England. I love that you said in your bio that the veils between the worlds is said to be thin there. Can you share a bit more about that?
Oh, absolutely. So, the UK in general, is very, very ancient. Like it has so many ley lines, the energy lines that crisscross around the world. And here in Canada, we don't really have very many, even though it's such a vastly bigger country. And England's so tiny, and Scotland and Wales and Ireland is also tiny, but there's so many in there. So they've got all these energy lines going through. Very, very ancient culture of magic, like the Druids and things like that, are very, very old wisdoms and things. So even today we have tales of like the veil being thin, and we knowingly or unknowingly celebrate a lot of the ancient days and times and seasons and things. Like we just had Beltane, right? So we still celebrate May Day in England with the maypole and,
Yeah.
the dancing and singing. And maybe people don't realize why anymore, but that's a very, very ancient magical connection that people have. And there's so many areas, like the stone circles and things like that, where it's just the energy is so different. And
Mm,
so even walking through London, England is a very, very magical, energetic place if you just take away all of the hustle and bustle of like the 9 to 5s and the tourists and everything. There's so much magic just in that huge capital city. And yeah, anyway, so that's the long way of saying that it's so very magical. We still have a lot of connection with the other worlds, like the fairy realms, for want of a
Uh-huh.
better thing. So and fairies being like many different sort of races, like good and bad, and not just
Yeah.
like the spell stuff. Like we have like house goblins and pixies and things. We have that
Yeah.
into these other world beings, and yeah. So I was always destined for something
That's
like this because I was so connected with that, right?
that's so cool. I never really thought about that, but that makes a lot of sense because there's so much history and there's so much lore, and that makes a lot of sense to me. So that it sounds like that was part of how you grew up. What was sort of your earliest experience with spirituality or energy?
Yeah, well, I can't remember a time that I didn't have it, put it that way. Like,
Cool.
I was very much that very imaginative child. I was always playing, imagination games. My mum encouraged the talking to the fairies, as in the Tinkerbell style kind of one,
Okay.
at the bottom of the garden. She was very much about like that, and fairy tales and mythology and stuff fascinated me, and I was very much that magical child.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, so I very much grew up like that, and like I said, my mum really encouraged that because she was all into that kind of thing too, but not quite as deep as I ended up going. Like she didn't practice it; she just kind of believed still.
Cool. That's awesome. Was there like a particular moment in your life where you said, "This is the path I'm going to go down and explore the spiritual gifts more deeply"?
No, you know what? Like I'm always learning. Even
Uh-huh.
as a kid, I just found a new topic and I just will dive into it, right? So I'm just always looking for new things to add. And sometimes I'll see something and it's not for me right now. And years later, I'll get back into it and I'll delve deep. But there was never really a moment because it was just me. It's just so natural. And it was just something that was a part of my nature. And so there was no defining moment because I always had that. I always had
Uh-huh.
that curiosity and that magic within me.
Oh, I love that. It does. I think it's so cool that that was a part of your childhood, that that was just sort of around you. And so you allowed yourself to explore that curiously and say, this is, I love this. So I'm just going to keep doing it and keep adding to my toolbox all these different things that help support your spiritual growth. So what modalities do you practice now, and which one do you feel like you use the most today?
So I go through phases of favorites.
Same.
Yeah, so umbrella terms, I do holistic therapies. So a number of different things that I'm qualified in, different types of massage therapy. I do herbalism and aromatherapy. I do crystal healing. You know, all of these holistic stuff, including like Reiki and ear candling and all that good stuff. And a lot of that's just in-person things. And then on the other spectrum, I do divination. So I do tarot cards and pendulums and, like runes. And I'm not like super good at runes yet, but it's one of those ones that I've kind of gone in and out of. And yeah, just all of those kind of like fortune telling things really fascinate me. And my current favorite is the Akashic Records. That's
Mm.
the one that I do so much now because I can do it from anywhere. So I can do it online, I can do it in person. There's no difference at all because I've experimented with the same person and I did it in person and online, and there's no difference at all. So I'm able to do that modality from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world.
Ah,
Um, so that's my current favorite, but I'm always just finding new things. And yeah, I'm currently learning astrology because I've always been in and out of astrology. I'm like, it's time now to
that is
qualify in that. But pretty much everything. And if I don't do it already, I probably will at some point.
I admire that, and I can relate to that because I feel like a lifelong learner. I'm somebody who's always listening to a podcast about something new or reading a new book about something or taking a class in something. I feel like the world is so vast and there's so much to take in. And I feel like anything that enables me to know myself better and to try to heal and or help other people heal is just the best. That yeah, I'm like, yes, let's learn it. Let's figure it out. I've always been fascinated with the Akashic Records. I think they are some of the coolest. It's just one of the coolest things I've ever heard of. Can you tell us about what they are, how you access them, and how they can help people? Because they're just a really phenomenal, interesting modality.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Akashic Record, the easiest way to understand it is everyone has their own very own energetic library. And this library stores everything that your soul has ever done and ever could do. It has your soul contracts and, your blocks and your limiting beliefs and good things as well. It has like the nice stuff too. But this is where all of your soul's knowledge is held. And you have your guides up there who are like the librarians. So when you go into your records, your guides are the librarians that show you how to find stuff, how to navigate up there, and what you need to know, how you can understand. Like maybe it was a lesson, or maybe it's a contract, or it's something stemming from a past life, or a trauma in this life or just something that your soul wanted to experience. So it makes you understand why you have this block or this issue, and then you can then choose to release it, and then you can heal from it. And it's such an amazing modality because it's pretty much unlimited. You can go in there with mundane things like, you can go in for a career thing, like, "I wanna change careers, what should I do?" Or, "I have this money block," or something, and, or my relationship with a family member or something is really bad, like, I need to know what's going on there or how to fix that. And then you can go in for literally soul missions and soul origins, and you can visit past lives and future selves and higher self. And you can talk to angels and ancestors. And yeah, it's so unlimited. And literally you can just go in there and discover. And there can never be too much going in there because you're always going to find something new. So the way that usually people do it is it's like a psychic medium thing where the practitioner would say, "Okay, I'm in your records and this is what I'm seeing. This is what your guides are telling me. Heather, go off and do that." And you say, "Okay, thank you very much," like with a tarot reading or whatever. And you're like,
Uh-huh.
"Okay, maybe you don't do anything about it." The way that I was taught to do it is to take you into your records. So my job is to help you connect and visualize and to hear and to smell and to touch and to comprehend for yourself. So even if I know the answer, I'm going to be writing it down and I can tell you what it is if you're really struggling. But at the end of the day, I might look over here and what does that mean? And what does that mean you need to do? Or how do we need to go forward with this? And if you say, "Oh, wow, because of that past life that I'm literally watching now and talking to my past life self and helping them heal from that, I'm now able to get over my money block or my relationship block or my health issue because I understand it and I'm experiencing the healing and I'm talking with my guides." And that then trickles down into your physical much easier, and you actually can step out into the world and you actually put it into action. And I've done that so much. I experimented at the beginning where I did the thing where I just go in and tell you
Uh-huh.
things, and then I've mainly done where I take people in, and the results are 100 times better when I've taken people in because it gives the power back to that person. And they then can, uh, take control of their own lives, their own destiny.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
this is what I do. This is why it's my favorite.
That I can tell. I know the listeners can't see you, but I can see your whole body shift and your energy is like excited and enthusiastic about this. So how does that work? So other practitioners will sort of sit and I think meditate and move through your records on their own, and like you said, deliver answers or look through certain records and get the responses maybe. And so, but you're actually guiding somebody along with you. So tell us about how you enable. So for me, somebody I have synesthesia, so I visualize things really well. I see shapes and forms in my mind. If you tell me a story, I'm watching the movie in my mind, you know? But I know some people don't have the ability to visualize or they don't see. And so, how do you work with somebody to take them in with you and allow them to experience the Akashic Records alongside of you? What is that like for you and for them?
Yeah. So, well, first off, I tell them that it's not a hypnosis. It's also not really a meditation. It's something in between.
Okay.
So, at any point, they can open their eyes. We can talk back and forth as we're doing now. They can get up. They can go get a tissue if like some emotions are getting. They can say, "I need 5 minutes." They can go answer the phone or the door or talk to whoever's in the house because there's an emergency or whatever. There's no, they still have connection with their body. So that first off helps people know that if we're doing it on the internet, if the internet goes out, they're not just going to be in a hypnotic trance. Like they can just
I'm
turn out,
stuck
get
there.
on with their day, and I'll close the records on my end. So it's all about creating that trust in me and that feeling of safety so that they know that they're going to be okay. And everything in their records is their records. It's for their higher good. The guides up there are theirs and theirs alone. So their whole goal and mission is to help you and guide you and advance your soul. So then what we'll do is we'll do some relaxation stuff. We'll do some grounding and then I call it grounding and running energy. So we do the grounding where we connect to the earth and then we open up to, the universe or God or, the central sun or whatever, that person connects to as the higher power. And we just run that energy through our body. And then I get people to visualize a door and this next bit is not really necessary as such. Like when I've had someone for a couple of sessions or I'm doing it for myself, I don't spend so much time on this bit. But at the beginning, I spend a lot of time in this beginning bit because I want to gauge how well that person is accessing their records. So
Oh,
I want to see
okay.
how well they visualize. Are they able to feel and smell and, you know, what do they experience? And so we do the door and then we do a pathway, we see the records building. And some people think, oh, it's just my imagination, or they don't see anything. And either way, I say imagination is a part of it. It's a
Mhm.
part of helping bridge that. So if they don't see a door, for example, they're really struggling with that and don't see anything. Okay, imagine there's a door, any
Oh.
door. What color would that door be? What would it be made out of? Is there a handle? What's the handle look like? Is there a window on there? Like what is the door? Where just imagine a door. And then as we go further and further, they start realizing that it's not their imagination anymore because maybe their records building is the Disney castle and they're like, I hate Disney. Why would it be the Disney castle? Like I would never imagine a Disney castle. I want like a cottage in the woods or something. Like I don't want that to be my record. And so after a while they realize that it's not their imagination anymore. So the whole point of me at the beginning is to get that connection going and to see how well and some people they're just instantly in there and they're off doing everything and my job's nice and easy and I'm just hanging out in the back with their guides getting some extra information in the background because they're doing everything. And
Yeah.
then other times I'm literally with them every step of the way, like energetically holding their hand and saying it's okay and breathe. Okay, and now what are we going to do? Okay, now we have to do this and now we're going to do that, and are you okay to do that? and ask them a number of times, "Are you sure that you're ready to do that? Because I'm feeling some resistance here." And you don't
Mhm.
need to say yes. You have your free will. You're not going to get punished if you say no to this. They're not going to say, "Well, she said no in the records, so now we're going to make her life a living hell for the next year and a half," right? They're not going to do that because they understand that anything that they show you and they say is ready to be dealt with, at a soul level, you're ready to do that. But at a human level, sometimes you're not ready to let go,
Yep.
or sometimes you're just scared, or you need it a little bit longer. You need that lesson for a couple more months or something, and there's
Mhm.
no problem. There's never going to be any spitefulness up there.
Wow. So you just said too, you connect with their guides and you're receiving information from their guides. So somebody comes to you and they're thinking, I want to make a career change. You're sort of walking them into their records. You've got their guides there. How do you know where to go? Do the books just sort of appear to you? Are you guided to a particular area? What's that process like for you?
So everything's always different. Everyone's records is different. Everyone's guides are different. They're always kind of like that fun encore that pokes fun at you a little bit and a bit jovial and stuff, but they're always different. They might look human or they might not, or they might just be energy, or, they're always different. And so some people, they get a lot of stuff with books, and that's very much an Akashic Records sort of thing that people think of is the library and the
Yep.
books. And sometimes all we do is we look through books. And that way can be different as well. That could be a guide just presenting a book, or the person looks down the long line of bookshelves and just one pops out, or they just know that that's the one that they need to get. Other times books are not involved at all. Like we go in and the guides just literally tell us where to go. So I can never tell someone, "Oh, you wanna go in for this, this is what's gonna happen," because
Uh-huh.
it's never gonna work out how I think it will. And it's actually funny because I'll sometimes go in thinking, "Well, this is what the answer's gonna be," and it's really not, and it's fascinating, and I'm just like, "Oh," or, "Oh, we'll probably do a process like this." "Oh, we're not? Okay, we're going over here now? Okay, this is new." And it was fascinating when I first started doing this because things would happen and my client would be like, "I don't understand. What's this about?" And I'd be like, "It will all make sense in the end. Just keep going with it." And really, I'm panicking inside thinking, "I don't know what's going on."
Mhm.
But it all works out because the guides are very understanding of what your level is. So when I'm up there, um, they are able to maybe tell me some more complicated things to translate to the client, rather than just telling the client. So that's why sometimes I'm hanging out with the guides in the background while my client's doing something else, or I'm getting extra messages through because
Mhm.
there's stuff that the client's maybe not able to comprehend yet, the way that they're gonna present them.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's always so different, every time we go in. Even if I've got repeat clients for years and years and years, we can go in and it can be absolutely different that one time. And yeah, I'm always learning. I'm always learning. Yeah,
Mhm.
if I was just doing this for myself, I wouldn't know half the things that I know about the world and the universe and you know, soul contracts and past lives and all of this stuff. I wouldn't know half of this stuff if I didn't go in with other people. I'm learning so
Wow.
much from other people's records.
That's really cool. I never thought about that, but that makes total sense because I always say, like, whenever I do a spirit portrait for somebody or a painting for somebody, there's just as much in the meaning, in the symbols, and in the healing that comes through for that person. There's just as much for me as there is for them. And so I'm always sort of taking away messages or like different things that I interpret through their portrait that I apply to my own life that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Because I think when we say something, we're saying it just as much for ourselves as we're saying it for the person that's there with us. So there's so much, I think, healing and learning for us as intuitive people as there is for the client too. And that's a blessing. I think that's really a gift for
Mhm.
us too.
And the funniest thing as well is sometimes I'm in someone's records and my client will say, "Oh, there's a message for you." And I'm like, "Well, this is not my session. Like, you're crazy me. I just thought out your stuff." Like, "No, no, the guides are saying there's a message for you and this is your message," because maybe I've not been going in as often
Uh-huh.
as I should and I've not been listening quite so well as I should be. So yeah, so they're just like going into my clients' records and saying, "Just tell her this now because she's not listening to us."
Because she hasn't popped into her own in a while. I love that because I do think that there's this space of infinite information and unconditional love, and it's infinite, right? Like there's source energy is just there's no end to it. So the fact that that would come through for you and say, actually, no, this is for her too because she hasn't popped in to say hi in a while, so make sure she gets this message. That's so cool. So, can you share if you've got an example of an experience you've had with a client where you've taken them into their records and they've got information that was, necessary for them in order to continue along their healing path or their journey?
Well, do you have anything more specific that you're wondering
Mm.
about? Because I
I'm just
mean, like,
curious, like
that's
if there's,
everyone really.
yeah, just somebody maybe recently, like, who was dealing with a situation. You took them into their records and they got information that they were able to use for some sort of transformative experience for them.
Yeah, well, like I said, that's pretty much everybody because everyone goes in usually with a question or a problem,
Hmm.
right? Like something that's not going quite as well as they want it to in their lives. And that could be something recent or it could be something brand new. And so I mean, let's say a career thing. So I
Hmm.
had a client who he never quite could get anywhere in a career. And he always pinpointed it to being when he was in high school, he was offered this apprenticeship and he said no because he was just worried about it. And then he went out after this high school and he got a job and he was just always in the lower bit. He was never happy in his work and he always just wanted to get further and he wanted to make something of himself and to get a higher paid job or to go and do his own thing. But he was worried and he was always like, oh, if I just said yes in high school to doing that thing, and that was my problem. And so we went in with the intention of going to that moment in time when he was the teenager and sorting out the blockage there. And we did do that. We went there and we spoke to his younger self. And but then the guides were like, but you realize this isn't actually the problem. This is something that happened because of a past life. So we ended up going to the past life. And very, very long story short, he was like a manager or something in this bomb factory, and so his job was to be in charge of people making bombs that were gonna go, into a war zone that were gonna kill many, many people. So
Yeah.
in that lifetime, he felt overwhelming guilt that his greed, which, I mean, he was just trying to live and provide for his family, but his greed of wanting to have that high up job was something that was harming people and killing people. And so, his soul made a vow that he would not do that again. He would not get a high up position or a well-paid job because he didn't deserve it. He had sort of sold his soul almost for that job,
Hmm.
and he just felt that it was an evil thing to be in charge. And so we spoke to that past life and, and was it's like a comforting thing. You kind of say to them, look, like you weren't the guy dropping the bombs even. Like you were just instructing people to make them. You were like in charge of the group of people making them. Like it wasn't your fault. You didn't actually hurt these people. And went through this whole healing process thing. Anyway, um, we then had another session booked for the following week. So say it was like a Monday, it was the following the Monday. Within 5 days, he had found a new job, quit his old job, This new job was another entry level thing that actually was something that was gonna quickly accelerate him and get him higher and higher and higher. And this was years ago, so I can actually say that yes, he actually got much better, and then he actually ended up leaving that higher paid job and opened his own business. And so it was all this kind of progression to realizing that he did deserve it and he was strong enough and he was able and capable enough to do that. And it wasn't this point in time that he thought it was. It was actually at a deeper soul level that this problem was actually came from. Um, so I hope that answered the question. That was just the one that kind of spoke
Yeah.
to me. Yeah, that one was fascinating. I really enjoyed that one.
That's amazing. I think that's a perfect example because I think so many of us are carrying around energies, beliefs, thoughts, patterns in our lives that we have no idea where they originated from. And or we can't really point to anything specifically in our current life where we're like, where did that belief start? And that could have been years and years and lives ago that's impacting you. And until you sort of go in and look at it, you really don't have any idea. But I love that he was able to just that quickly. And I think that's the way I think that's the way spirit moves too, right? Like just that quickly, God is efficient. So you get your message, you make your change, and then pathways open up. And so that's a beautiful example of that. Thank you for that. I love that. And I'm sure you've got loads and loads more of those examples too of being able to go into the records and help people. So who are the folks that you tend to serve the most? And do you notice any sort of patterns or themes that come up in people's records as you're working with them? Or is it truly that every single client is different?
I would say everyone is very different. I have people that are very, very spiritual, and then I have people that are not spiritual at all. So I kind of almost think that the non-spiritual people are going to really struggle, but they really don't. And that's beautiful to watch as well, because
Hmm.
even if at the end of the day they think, well, I was just kind of making it up a bit, they still see results, right? So they still kind of believe in it in a way because it's doing something for them. It's helping them in some way. So everyone's always different. Like I said, the guides are usually quite similar in everyone's records. They kind of have that same kind of persona. They are all different and personal to each person, but they all have that same kind of like immense love for my
Hmm.
client, but also at the same time, they're not afraid to say, well, you did that thing wrong, right? You know that you're standing in your own way, right? And they do call you out, but in that loving, supporting way.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and even the records themselves, like a lot of people, they'll see a sort of castle type building,
Okay.
or they'll see a library inside, but that's not always the case. Some people it's a little cottage. Some people, there's no books. Like I said, there's no books at all appearing. It's just some people. Once I actually had someone where it was like computers and TV screens and things rather than the books. Things were on a TV, so it was like almost like they were watching a movie or the news or something on the TV rather than looking at something within a paper book,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that was really interesting, and they weren't necessarily anyone very technical, they just happened to be very, very modern, things up there,
That's
and,
cool.
yeah, it's so interesting because everyone's unique and because, the situations are unique. So even if, like, I take 5 people that same day into their own records for the same problem, like, they all have a the same problem with their partner.
Uh-huh.
The ways that we sort it out, the things that are presented, the reasons behind it, um, going into past lives, future selves, this lifetime, it could all be so different, yet we're doing the exact same in a way. issue with the exact same age group and country of origin and everything, but they all have a very unique way of dealing with it and
Hmm.
healing from it and understanding it. And it's just so fascinating.
That's so cool. That's really cool. I'm always curious about that because whenever I do a spirit portrait for somebody, they are always so different. And I can do 3 or 4 in a day and sit them all out and look at them, and they have zero in common. They're all different shapes, different colors, different messages, different meanings. And I think it's all so individual, right? Like every single, your guides are uniquely yours, your records are uniquely yours. We are all these just incredible spirits walking around having these human days, and we're just trying to figure it out. And I love that the records are a place where you can go and get answers too to questions that you've got. Do you teach people how to access their records on their own?
Absolutely. In fact, if I have repeat clients, I always encourage them to do it by themselves. I always try and get them to attempt it at least because um, they're your records.
Mhm.
And it used to be that only souls at a certain level could access the records. But this day and age where we are right now, everybody has access to their own records, absolutely everyone. So you don't need somebody like me to go into your records. You can do a guided meditation on YouTube, or you can just sit and go in just by yourself. There's no reason why you can't access it. People come to me because they need um, sort of like someone else there to say, "And I see this," and they say, "Oh, good, because 'cause I'm seeing that too, and I know I'm not making it up," right? And that's always fascinating when you're both seeing the same thing, or you're both getting the same message through, and then it just
Yeah.
shows me as well that I'm not making it up. Because sometimes, like, I get to the point where I'm like, "Am I actually doing this really?" Or I'm like, "Okay,
The self doubt. Yeah.
and then my client will say, "No, that's exactly what I'm seeing," and, it's confirmation. So even repeat clients that go into their records by themselves really, really well, if there's a big issue or, something where they just need that extra confirmation, they will book a session with me, or they'll just ask me to go up solo and report back to them and tell them what the guides have said. But yeah, absolutely, like, my whole thing is to let people know that they have the access themselves. You don't need to have somebody else there. Um, I can absolutely guide you and tell you how to do it and do that teaching process. And I
Mhm.
do one-on-one sessions as well as group ones where, I show people how to do it. But you can, again, it is your records. Like, you can just feel your way into it and go there and get the answers that you need for yourself. I like to describe it like when people do meditation. Some people, they like to just light their candles and their incense and sit in their own room and do it by themselves. Other people, they like to go and join a group where they sit around and they need to be with other people, and the teacher guides the group.
Mhm.
Or they need to do like a one-on-one with somebody where like the facilitator just does the guided meditation for them and leads them through their own unique meditation. And it's exactly the same with the records. It's what's your comfort level? And do you need that extra support? Do you need that extra guidance? Or, are you comfortable enough and do you trust your own intuition enough to be able to go in by yourself? And that's what I encourage.
I love that. I love that. Well, I think anybody would be really lucky to have you guide them to their records, especially to have you connect with their guides. I think that would be such a treat. So tell me where people can find you on the internet. I know you're live at fives. I'd love for you to share about that. And you just launched a new YouTube channel too, right?
I did, yeah. So this is my year of getting out there.
I
I
love
like
it.
that. So this is my year of going on podcasts and doing my live at 5, which is literally just I go live every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So whatever that is for whoever else. And I go live on Instagram, and each week is a different theme. So, this coming one we were talking about before we started press record, is I do a chakra series every month during this live at 5. And so this week is the sorry, it's not the sacral, it's the solar plexus chakra,
Yep.
which is your yellow one just below your rib cage. So, and then like next month will be the heart one. But in between all of these chakra ones, I do individual ones. So I'll do like a tarot something or some kind of massage something or something holistic or magical will be the theme for each week. And then the live then gets uploaded to Instagram and to Facebook unedited. So it's just me waffling on and talking about nothing and getting distracted. And then my friend actually, she's so supportive and lovely. She's been going on at me for ages saying, you need to do a YouTube thing. And then when I started the live at 5, she said, you need to upload these to YouTube. And I'm like, no, I don't know, because I'm terrible with technology. Like, it took me long enough to work out how to watch somebody's story on Instagram, let alone do a live. First time I did a live, it was awful. I just didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
And
it
I
takes
just couldn't
time.
even turn it off. Anyway, so now with the YouTube thing, so proud of myself. I've learned how to edit slightly. So the YouTube ones are slightly edited. And like things like when I was doing the full card for April Fool's Day, because it was the Wednesday was just after April Fool's Day, I was trying to describe the card for people and showing them things, and it wasn't really working. So in the YouTube video, it's a nice little zoom up of the full card. And so now we're talking about the sun in the full card, and now we're talking about the dog, and it's a zoom in on it. So it's a bit more understandable.
Yeah, that's great.
People can check those out. Probably the easiest way is if you have like Facebook or
Mhm.
Instagram. If you go onto that, there's like my link tree on there, and from there you can go to the website, you can go to the YouTube, you can see any events that are coming up for me. There's like a thing for free stuff as well. And just all the contact details really are on the link tree. So that's probably the easiest way. And you can absolutely book it's a 30-minute, but it's probably longer, a little chat with me where it's a free chat and we can just talk about what you want to talk about really. And I can guide you in and tell you your next steps that you could possibly take. And that could either be by yourself or with me or with someone else that I know that I can recommend you to, or some videos to watch or something. And it's just like, how can we get you started on this, and how can we get you sort of to understand where you're going next?
Awesome. I love that. I'll put all that information in the show notes too. And I saw that you have savings on a single session and 2 programs in the Akashic Records for the listeners too. So thank you for that.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that's just for your listeners. So there's no link to it from anywhere else. It's just that link that I sent to you. And yeah,
Awesome.
special offers there. So absolutely take those and enjoy.
Very cool. Thank you so much. I have loved chatting with you and hearing about everything that you know and that you're learning. And I think as 2 lifelong learners, it's so nice to meet somebody who's just got this insatiable curiosity about the world and the spirit realm and everything, that we don't have the answers to yet. I love it. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun. Thank you.
As we wrap up, I want to gently check in with you for just a moment. What stood out to you today? What stirred something inside of you? If this conversation opened a door or highlighted a pattern or made you realize there's something deeper that's asking to be seen, that's not an accident, my friends. This is exactly the kind of clarity I support people through with laser color readings. We look at what's showing up in your life right now and use color to decode what your system is trying to communicate. It is fascinating. So if you're curious or you feel that quiet yes, just DM me the word color on Instagram over at Heather Eck Artist. I would love to just have a conversation with you. Connecting with my listeners is one of my favorite things. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Thank you for joining me today on Your Radiant Spirit. Every conversation here is an invitation to go beyond the surface, to listen to what your soul has been whispering, and to step into the life you've been longing for. If you're ready to go deeper, to work in a way that's personal, creative, and profoundly transformative, you'll find ways to connect with me in the show notes. Whether it's through art, a guided session, or a fully immersive journey, you'll discover a space where your truth is seen and your next chapter begins. If this episode spoke to you, it would mean the world if you shared it with a friend, left a review, or subscribed so more people can discover the conversations we have here. Until next time, my friend, keep noticing the colors, the moments, and the nudges. They're all leading you home. And for now, take a breath, hold on to what resonated, and carry it with you into the rest of your day. Thanks for listening.